Welcome to Somewhat Awesome Games, good looking people. I'm Rob. I'm back from Star Wars Celebration. I am recovering from whatever bugs I picked up on the plane. Man, Star Wars Celebration was just a hell of a good time. That was incredible. To be in the room when they dropped the Battlefront 2 trailer was one of those just insane moments of your life. To see everyone enjoying something so much and to see it on a big screen with an insane sound system was incredible. What we saw there and discussed with the devs is that has fueled my hype train well into November until the game comes out. I can't wait until the 17th. I literally have not stopped thinking about the game since I saw the trailer and saw all this extra stuff. I was just like, oh my god, we've barely scratched the surface and this is good enough for me at the moment. I can't wait to see more of it. But until then, until I get my little fat hands on the game, all we can do is really talk about it. And that's what I'm going to do today. Now that I got my voice back, I'm going to discuss single player. I guess we'll give a taste of multiplayer. There is no season pass. There's something else happening there, and it should hopefully keep all the player base together, because that was my big thing with the first Battlefront. I love where Battlefront is now. It's just a problem that it's actually not one game. It's not his Battlefront. It's Battlefront 1, Battlefront 1.2, 1.3, 1. It's split up all over the place. And in Australia, it's incredibly difficult to play the maps you want to play and find a game that has enough players to play them, so that kind of sucks. So basically what they're delivering here is hope. We have hope, potential hope, that we will have a solid game come November. But beyond the multiplayer, we have a campaign. What? A campaign. They actually listened, and we have a story that is part of the Star Wars canon, which I think is kind of a crazy, risky move, but Lucasfilm, they're all over that stuff. They're making sure, they're locking that thing down, making sure it's right. Because, I mean, you're getting a game, basically the first story game, and making it canon, making it actually part of the Star Wars history. You don't want to stuff that up. You don't want to muck that up. You don't want to make a crappy game. There's always a possibility it could be, but hopefully they nail this one down, because we'll be seeing the point of view of the Empire. We'll be following Iden Versio, a member of the Empire's Special Forces. And by the looks of it, she might go into the First Order and maybe become one of those Special Forces TIE Fighter pilots that we've seen in The Force Awakens. That would be a nice little tie-in there, potential there. I think we're going to see those Special Force TIE Fighters at the end of the game, once the First Order arrives on the scene. From the trailer, we can see we're fighting for the Empire, or what remains of it. It looks like it picks up during Endor, so we'll probably play the Battle of Endor on the ground, and then kablamo! The Death Star 2 is destroyed, and we get to see it from the Empire's perspective, because we've seen it from the Rebel side plenty of times. It's a victory, it's a party. Everyone's having a good time, but for the Empire, I mean, they set a trap. The Emperor, the master of grand plans, set up this solid play that should not have failed. He had planned to end the rebellion, slipping little information and stuff to them, setting a massive trap for them, and how could they lose? I mean, the Empire is in on this, and next second, the Death Star blows up. Who could see that coming? The Emperor's dead, the rebels win. You would be on the ground being like, hang on, something's not right here. This was a trap. We had a plan here. The grand plan, what the hell happened? You'd be freaking out. You wouldn't know what to do. So I'm kind of keen to see what happens with these characters. I mean, if you've read the Aftermath series of books, you would know Rey Sloane. We've seen her perspective of the Empire, trying to put it back together with Gallius Rax taking control and doing all kinds of crazy things before the big battle at Jakku. So we've seen this perspective slightly in that trilogy of books. So we could play through it from just the boots on the ground side of things. We could see that over a 30-year period. So we've got a nice 30-year story from Endor to basically The Force Awakens. Maybe a little beyond. I doubt it though, because we've got the Last Jedi coming out. But we do get a look at the Emperor's contingency plan, which is the messenger. If you've read the comic book series Shattered Empire, you know the Sentinel droid. He's tasked with relaying the commands of the Emperor after his death. He sets in motion a Scorched Earth order, which in modern military is a policy that aims to destroy anything of importance to the rebellion while withdrawing from their now owned territory, I guess, kind of like a tactical retreat, but at the same time blowing up everything possible that they need. And it looks like Iden has kind of a one-on-one conversation with this messenger droid, so she is of importance, getting direct orders from the Emperor himself. in-depth, post-mortem Emperor rules. So what kind of things will we be seeing them doing? We're part of this special group. They'd be tasked with collecting Vader's helmet, maybe we'll see that. Possibly, it's kind of a pointless task for a special group, but that could happen. That could just be like some fan service there. Hey, yeah, you're the group that got Vader's burnt helmet for Kylo at some point. Most likely we're hunting down Luke Skywalker. Enemy number one, that's what I believe we will be doing. We see him in the trailer. We've been told that we will play various characters, including Luke and possibly Kylo. So that'll be an interesting kind of thing to do, to be playing a group that potentially, speculation, hunting down Luke and then switching to Luke and possibly even killing our own team. That would be kind of crazy. That'd be weird. I don't think we're going to see any Jedi Academy stuff. I know some people are thinking like, oh my god, we're going to get to see the fall of Kylo Ren and Luke Skywalker, their little battle. I think it's going to be very minimal. Maybe like they'll appear at the end of a mission or something. I don't think we're going to see any of that Jedi Temple stuff, because we've got The Last Jedi coming out. That's going to be the Luke Kylo confrontation in that movie. You don't want to blow your load before the movie's even out with a game. I can't see them touching on that at all. Maybe a tease, maybe a taste of what Luke's up to, but not dishing out dirt before Episode 8 comes out. But what I am hoping for more than anything is kind of a Republic Commandos, even a Halo Reach, if you played Halo Reach style of story, where we get a team and you get to know them, you bond with them through the campaign, you mourn their deaths, their last stands, whatever it is across narratives. Now, once we get a chance to read Inferno Squad, once that comes out by Christy Golden, that's out in July. So that one surprised me. That one caught me off guard, because I like the Star Wars books. So I had Inferno Squad ready to go. I'm waiting for it. Next second, it's a Battlefront 2 novel. What? If you've seen the Battlefront 1 novel, that's a chunky book. That is a solid book and a good read. So when I saw that this was Battlefront 2 and then Christy Golden came on stage, I was psyched, man. I was all over that thing. So I can't wait to read that, learn these characters, learn their histories. So I would suggest get the book before you play the game, obviously, because you're going to know the characters, you're going to know them a bit better. So depending on what happens in the single player narrative, you might enjoy it more, it might impact you more. Whatever happens to these characters, you're going to be more invested in them because you've known them for a few months before the game even comes out. So totally get that when it comes out. She's a solid writer. I mean, Dark Disciple, that's a hell of a book. Following Ventress, check that one out. I don't want to say anything about it, but that's a good read. But before the book comes out, what we do know is Iden is from a planet called Vardos that is described as an imperial utopia, growing up with her father, Admiral Versio. So it's kind of inevitable that she would side with the Empire and defend it to her grave. I mean, it's her life. It's her family. It's how she grew up. She basically grew up on an Empire planet. So you can see why she is so committed to the Empire, which I think is the perfect character to play in a game that's sided to the Empire. You don't want her to turn good at the end. You don't want that Vader resolution. You want her committed to this story. To have it end and have her realize, oh, maybe the Empire's bad. Maybe I'm on the wrong side. That would suck. Please, God, don't do that. Please don't do that. I want full-on Empire devotee to the grave. Give me that, and I will be happy. I mean, her loadout is very similar to the 7th sister from Star Wars Rebels. She has the little ID-9 probe droid on her back. It looks almost identical to the one from Rebels. So potentially this droid is going to be like your scouting droid. You can scout ahead, spot tag enemies potentially. Speculation, don't know. But if you played Battlefield, that's usually what you can do. You can tag enemies, keep track of them. Modern games do that because they want you to, breeze through their levels without walking around the corner being surprised by an enemy. So you got your little scout droid. So he could be doing that, but he definitely looks like he's doing stealth takedowns with his little electricity, just zapping fools. So it looks like we can take control of him. Can we control him at any point, any time? I don't know. We don't know nearly enough yet. So we're just having a good time watching this trailer. Had a little talk to the devs, so we've got a little bit extra knowledge beyond the trailer, but not enough to fill in any super gaps that you're probably wondering about. But speculation is always fun, unless it's too wild and crazy and you're selling it as fact. But we can upgrade our characters, and we can make, there are some choices through the storyline, which will be interesting, especially since it's a canon story. How can it be a canon story if you're making choices within it, changing the outcome? Maybe. It might be minimal things. It might be like, how do you want your hair done? What do you want for breakfast? Simple things that don't affect the overall story. The good thing is there aren't unlocks from single player to multiplayer. So you can not touch single player if you're that insane, if you really don't want to. If you don't want to touch single player, you can just go straight to multiplayer and unlock everything for multiplayer. So don't expect to be seeing like any flaming stormtrooper helmets to be like, oh my god, that guy beat the story on extreme, he's so cool. Now he's ruining my immersion. My immersion. That's what's important to us Star Wars fans. We like the immersion. That's what we're playing it for. Again, going into that kind of side of things, collectibles, man. You know I like my collectibles. But in a canon story, how do collectibles work? I mean, in Iden's tale in history, will it be known that she's like on an important mission, but she spent 30 minutes looking for a data file to hear some random thoughts of a random trooper on Endor? I guess that's the choice you could make. You'd be like, yeah, I want to go get the collectibles, or I want my immersion, and get that immersion going. And it's a linear story, so don't expect like a Battlefield 1 style of moments in history where you can pick a period of time and then play through that. It looks like it's going to be a continuous tale from start to end. Maybe you get some bonus missions that you can select and replay the best moments. I could see them doing that, because that would kind of suck if there's just like this one crazy section of the game and you have to play through the whole thing to get to it. So I think there would be selectable chapters of some kind, but then there's upgrades and all sorts going on apparently, so we will see. I mean, I could go on about this game forever. I mean, I finally let out some of the things I've had bottled up since I got home. Been too sick to talk about it, which has been a bummer, but we've seen the trailer, we've got some behind the scenes, we've chatted with the devs. There is still a lot to learn about this game. They're very tight-lipped on a lot of things, but time will reveal more. I was not ready to be blown away by what I saw, but it caught me off guard. I don't know what to do with my time until it is out. It looks like they listened to feedback and have done their best to address it. Props to anybody who does that for a game. I mean, no one likes a bad game. Nobody wants to make a bad game. Whatever they're cooking up, I hope it's good and I hope they nail it. But that trailer put my hype levels to infinity and beyond. The classic non-Star Wars quote. So let's see where we go. We'll talk about multiplayer at some point. And I mean, I'm going to be crapping on about this game for months. For months until it's in my hand. Every little bit I get. I am hyped for this game. I mean, it is looking like the transition from Battlefront to Battlefront 2 of yesteryear. Going from a good game to an incredible game. So hopefully we get that. Hopefully we go from this. No, Battlefront's a good game. Where it's at now, it's a good game. I'm hoping for an incredible game at launch.